Good evening, I'm Marty Olson, and welcome to another edition of City Focus. And tonight I am really pleased to have four local New London students, middle school students, who are joining me this evening. Two are from the Benny Dover Jackson Middle School, and two are students at the Isaac School. And these young folks made the trip a week ago to Washington for the inauguration of President Obama. And I think that was pretty special, and our topic tonight will be their trip and what they did and what they saw and what they got out of it. And as per usual, we are live this evening, and we will be taking phone calls and questions. So if there's folks out there who are interested in a little input from the young folks, please call in. Locally, we'll be at 860-440-3154. or at 800-253-2285. So why don't we get right to it here? We'll introduce my guest this evening. To my left is Azel Morales, who's a New London resident. He's been on before. Yeah. And he's a student at Isaac, 8th grade. And we have three young ladies who are 7th graders. And from my left to right, we have Genesis Tavares, and she's a New London resident as well, going to Isaac School, grade 7. And in the center, we have Dakia James, Benny Dover Jackson Middle School. And in the center, Makita Bandelas Asante. And I think I may have made a boo-boo here, but we'll meander along. In any event, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the program. And I'd also like, as part of the introduction, to mention that these students made the trip as part of a collaborative effort. The Smart Mouth program is the name of it, and that includes the NAACP Youth, Drop-In Learning Center, and the Kente Cultural Center collaborated in seeing these youngsters make the trip to Washington. There were a number of other youngsters that made the trip as well, and some of them were watching in the control room, and we just couldn't squeeze everybody into the set in one shot here. So I'm pleased to have you guys here, and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
What I'd like to know, let's start right at the beginning. When did you leave? I mean, how did this come about? When did you know you were going to go? I mean, for me, a trip to Washington in general is pretty special. Yeah. And to go for the inauguration, I think, is kind of extra special. Yeah. So who'd like to take the lead here? Okay, you're on.
Well, I found out the day before. I found out the day before from my mom, and I found out that some of my friends were going, so I was interested in taking the trip. And we left like at midnight.
At midnight? Mm-hmm. Midnight what day?
On Saturday.
On Saturday at midnight. So you had to stay up until midnight to get there to go, and you left from where?
We left from the Drop-In Learning Center in New London, and we started driving around 1:30 because we had to pack up and get our stuff.
That sounds pretty neat. Now, so you left it from the drop, and you got there at midnight. Did you guys take a bunch of cars? You're too young to drive.
Okay.
So who drove? Did you have a van or two vans or a bus?
We had two vans, and it fitted about 3 kids in our van and about 5 kids in the other van. So it was a pretty good amount.
That sounds good. And were you did you know all the kids that went? Did everybody know each other? Or was there anybody
we know each other.
We all knew each other.
Okay, that's good. So there's no strangers in the midst, so to speak.
No.
Have any of you been to Washington before?
No.
I have.
You have?
Yes.
Okay.
I was
you
born
went last year with the job, right?
You've been once?
I was born there.
Oh, you were born there? So you lived there as well?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. What? And you've visited?
Yes, I have.
And you've been there as well?
No.
No? Well, that's interesting. So we got 2 newbies and a couple of folks who've been there and spent some time there. So I think your take on things could be maybe a little bit different. So it's kind of neat. Okay. Leaving at midnight or thereabouts, it's roughly a 6-hour drive to Washington. Any traffic problems
Yeah.
in New York or anything?
Well,
Or
on our way back.
on the way back?
Yeah.
Well, we're,
Yeah, we
kinda,
left
we're
pretty
on our
late.
way down now. Huh?
I said we left pretty late. So
You left late? Well,
There was some traffic here and there.
what time did you get to Washington?
It
About,
was like
8 o'clock.
7.
8 o'clock. 8 to 7.
Wow.
yeah, and after we went to a church service.
In Harvard University.
At Howard University? Did
Yeah.
you stay at Howard or did you stay?
No,
No.
we stayed in a hotel, but
We listened to Reverend Wright preach, and he mentioned some really interesting topics. He also mentioned some really old topics as well.
And that was at Howard?
Yes.
Okay. And were you expecting that, or was that a surprise to hear
It
him
was-
speak?
It was a surprise.
it was a surprise. We weren't even
Yeah,
dressed
we
for
was,
it.
we was the odd ones out.
We were, yeah.
We were
Everybody
the
was all
odd ones out.
fancy, and we were like,
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well,
And
okay.
in the house of the Lord, you were all dressed appropriately.
It was,
yeah, super.
It felt good to be acknowledged. We were actually acknowledged by one of the women there. Her name, she mentioned the Drop In Learning Center, and it kind of felt good to stand up in front of all these people.
Yeah,
Really.
so people would know.
To be recognized.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. So on the trip down, did you sleep, or were you guys so excited that you just
I
kinda
was
We
knocked
were
out.
knocked
We
out.
were
I think
we-
everybody was.
sleep too?
I slept a little bit, not much.
Not much? I was kind of curious
I woke up
whether
every 3
you'd
hours
be
or
all
so.
wired and just want to talk, but if you're able to get some sleep so you could enjoy the next day. So you get to Washington, so even before you kind of get settled, you go right to the service at Howard?
Yeah, we have about
Yeah.
half an hour to
Yeah.
freshen up and
Yeah.
eat breakfast. So then we just went in.
That's outstanding. What else about Howard University can you share with us? I mean, I've never been to Howard.
It was really big.
Actually, downstairs of the auditorium, there was like a graduation picture. I don't know from what year, but it was cool because it was like a sky shot of all the people and the graduates. It was pretty cool.
Except like 2007 or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was that
Now,
kind of.
wasn't one of your chaperones a Howard University alum?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Miss Jane.
Benuti.
Ms. Jane, Ms. Bernuti.
Yeah.
Okay, I just thought that would be appropriate to plug that in, give her a plug that you visited her school. Again, folks, I'd like to mention that we are live tonight, so if you have any questions or comments that you'd like to make for my young guests, please call in locally or at 860-440-3154, or if you're out of the area, where you can call 800-253-2285 and inquire to the activities that these young folks had down in Washington. Or if you have any questions for me, please feel free. So where did you stay? You didn't stay at Howard, you stayed
We stayed in a hotel in Virginia.
a hotel in
Hyatt-
Virginia.
Hyatt House?
The Hyatt House, yeah.
Yeah, Hyatt House. It was really
Oh,
cool.
that sounds pretty nice. And how far was that from Howard, and
It
how
was-
far was that from Washington?
They had said it was 20 minutes, but we went like the biggest circle ever ended up being 3 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Oh,
the actuality from Howard to the hotel was a good maybe 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But, it took us,
Forever.
Yeah,
3
we got
hours.
lost
yeah, we got,
along the way.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
you forgot your GPS?
no,
we
no,
had
no.
it.
We had it,
We
but
had
we
it.
didn't use it
But
because they didn't want
we
to.
just
They
didn't.
didn't want to like use it, so because it's like
Well,
slow.
I guess it was probably they kept missing the exits,
Yeah.
which is kind of funny, but we got there. Like,
had fun.
it was dark.
This is new to me. I wasn't aware that this little curveball occurred in Howard.
I had a lot of, it was really funny in our van, like things that we discussed in our van. And,
Yeah.
In our van, we had a crying baby.
Well, this is part of the experience, and I'm glad that you're sharing everything, because this is part of the things that you'll remember as part of this trip. When you get to be, get to be my age, you'll remember when we went to Washington, and you'll remember that crying baby, and you'll remember the long ride. And you'll remember Reverend Wright, and you'll remember all these little things. And it's, so that's part of the specialness of this trip. So what else did you do on on Sunday, you had a whole day before you had the inauguration, correct? You left Saturday at midnight.
It was a long day.
Basically, you traveled Sunday in the middle of the night, arriving in Washington early in the morning on Sunday, and the inauguration is on Monday, on Martin Luther King Day.
Yeah.
So what did you do for the rest of the day? You had a whole day.
When we got there, we had gone to the thing. We went to the Howard, and then when we left, we went to like this place, I forgot, and it was like we saw the monuments from up there.
Which
It was on
monuments
top
are you
of the-
referring to?
Like you could see the Washington Monument and the Capitol building from up.
Did you visit those areas? Did you go into Washington
Yes,
and
but
visit some of
that
the...
was-
But that was
Monday.
that was
That was on the
Monday.
inauguration.
On that day, we had chosen to go to the hotel first.
Yes. But
So did you spend the day at the hotel, or did you get out and about
before-
and do some touring
Well,
while
I
you were
mean,
there?
it took hours to get there. We
Yeah.
were supposed to get there earlier, but
Hours?
like for the whole day we were
Hours?
We were
planning.
Folks, do you hear that? We hours.
well, we actually, Alvin, we passed the White House from a distance, but
Yeah.
it wasn't so far. But it's pretty cool to see because I've really never seen it like that.
1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. It's a pretty impressive place, isn't it?
I want a house like that.
Well, run for president and win. You can live there.
I'll try, right?
They let you live there for at least 4 years.
Maybe
Or 8.
Or 8 if you win 2 elections.
Please vote. Please vote.
Yep, Dickie James, everybody.
Well, it's something to aspire to. Public service is a high calling, and I think part of this trip, I think, is good for all of you, is to visit the Capitol and see our government and see how things function. I think it's important, especially as somebody, at least at the local level, who's been involved. So, but please continue. I'm interested to what you accomplished on Sunday. So once you got settled in your hotel, when you finally got there, and you had your service, and you got back, you went back to your hotel after the service?
Yeah.
Yeah, we went to for dinner. We went to TGI Friday,
Oh, wow.
and we were some good
pretty
food.
good.
You like that?
Yeah,
Yep.
Yes,
had big old burgers.
good burger. Shout out to TGI Friday.
Shout out
for
to
you.
Amy, right? What's that lady?
The waitress, yeah, her name was Amy. I think.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she was cool.
Oh, we had 2 birthdays. Miss D and my brother Ramon. Yeah, we celebrated their birthday. You know, they did a little birthday song. I don't remember
was
how the
cool.
birthday song went, but it was funny. And so they were both served a little ice cream sundae. They didn't split.
It was worth going down just for that. That's kind of neat. So did you get out and do anything in town on Sunday? I mean, try to give me some clarity in terms of what you did or didn't. Did you stay in the hotel and swim?
Well,
No,
Did you-
the swimming pool was outside.
Mostly.
It was?
Yeah. Well, we actually spent like almost the whole day in the car trying to find our directions, so we really didn't.
We just
do
saw.
anything.
We just saw our
But
surroundings.
on Monday we did all the following.
It took us a while to find the metro. It took us a good maybe hour to find the metro, and then we had to catch the metro, which didn't take an hour. I think it took 30 minutes, and then from there we tried to get to the hotel, but
Okay. Now, have any of you been on a subway before? Answer my question, then we'll go to the phone.
Okay.
oh please.
I mean, regarding the metro, have you been on a subway in New
No,
York or Boston?
never.
I've been in,
I've been
it's my Washington
in New
DC.
York.
And you've been where?
In New York.
In New York. So that was not a new experience for you then?
Not
For
really.
you, it was?
Going to New York?
No, the subway.
Oh, no,
You've done that before.
yes.
It was my first time.
First
on a
time?
train.
It's kind of neat. And we do have a call, so we'll go right to the phones. Good evening, and you're on the air.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
How are you today?
We're doing wonderful. Do you have a question or a comment?
Yes, I'd like to know how this experience affected them for the rest of their lives.
Well,
How did this experience affect you?
yes. Did you hear the question?
Yeah.
Yes, I
Yes.
How did this affect you, and how do you think it's going to affect you for the rest of your lives? And we'll let the ladies go first and work our way around. How's that?
I'll be able to say that
I do it.
I
Thank you.
I went to DC because I doubt I'll ever go back there. But that was a pretty cool experience.
That I get to look back on my days when I become older and say that I actually got to go and see Obama, our first black president, get inaugurated for 4 more years. And I think
Pretty special stuff.
yes.
And how about you?
I remember that I got to go back to my hometown and see the monuments, the memorials, and to see President Obama get sworn in and see Beyonce perform.
Now, how old were you when you moved from Washington? Did you come right to New London, or did you?
I went to Richmond. I was about like 5, 6, I think.
Okay, and how long have you been in New London?
Since like December of 2008.
So, about 4 years?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's been a while. You're almost a native.
Yeah.
Almost.
It's pretty much like what Dakia said. I'm proud to have been to the inauguration of the first African American president, and like I can tell my kids this, and that's something put in history. Like,
And it's pretty special. I mean, to see any president inaugurated, I think, is a special occasion. But for some, and I think, as you've clearly outlined, been extra special for you guys, and for good reason. And I think that was one of the reasons I think it's important to get you on a program like this to share your experiences with the masses. Well, let's see, we got more calls here, so we'll go back to the phones. Good evening, and you're on the air.
Hello, am I on?
You are.
Good evening. I understand you children stayed at Howard University when you first went to town? When you first got in D.C., you stayed at Howard University?
We visited there to see
Reverend Wright preach.
Yeah, Reverend Wright preach.
Okay. That's pretty progressive. You know, Howard University is a potential school for all of you all. It's a world-class university. It was founded after the Civil War by soldiers that fought during the Civil War. And it has people from all over the world going to their medical school, their law school, their undergraduate school. So I'm glad that you had an opportunity to take the tour. A lot of famous people have come from that school. And to go to D.C. at this time in history, you make yourselves a primary resource for future generations. Young people can interview you because you are eyewitness to a historical event. I'm very proud of you. And do something with this opportunity. Do something positive, do something progressive to make this a better country, to make this a better world. The opportunities that you've been afforded aren't afforded to everyone. And you have to demonstrate that, you know, this was a worthy investment, and because of it, you've become a better person, and it's a better planet. I wish you all well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Have
you
a
for
good
the
day.
call.
good night.
And are you aware that Howard is a historically black college with primarily black students attending the school?
HBCU.
Yeah. So the caller is very correct in terms of its historical significance. And again, having one of your chaperones be an alum, I think, is special as well.
Yes.
Okay.
That was my mom.
Neat. That's important too.
Yeah.
I would like to inquire now on Monday, which is interesting to me because it was a dual special day. We're inaugurating our president and
it's
Barack
MLK's
Obama.
birthday.
It's Martin Luther King's birthday, and our president is an African American. So I mean, all these different things just kind of dovetail together quite nicely, you might say. And when did you folks get up on Monday morning, and how long did it take you to get from the hotel to wherever you were going to be watching from? And let's start there.
We had asked the night before the people in the front desk to wake us up at 6 a.m. Well, the girls in our group. And yeah, it was 6 a.m. when we got up on Monday.
So you got up at 6, and did you have breakfast at the hotel?
Yes.
Yes.
It was
So good.
And from there, did you drive or take the metro into Washington?
Metro.
Took
Metro.
the metro.
Metro.
Well, we
We
drove to the where you
Yeah, we
catch the metro.
We catch metro, and then we got on the metro and went to Washington.
Okay.
Then we walked a great deal. Like we walked a very long time.
Yeah, and it was
Like,
like this.
way in the wild.
It was
Like 3 miles.
when we got to Washington. There was like these people. We were all squished together. And
Yeah, talk about a
It's-
mixing pot, you know.
They were selling.
America.
it was
They were
horrible.
selling
I swear.
Horrible.
from the Barack Obama things and like T-shirts, flags, like
Yeah,
and even like Romney stuff. I was like surprised.
Well, he ran for office too, you know.
yeah.
So where did you guys end up setting up and watching the events of the day?
We went to the big yard where everybody else was.
But can you be? Were you on a particular street or avenue? Were you near any? I mean, were you near the Lincoln Memorial? Were you? I didn't recall seeing you being introduced on stage with the president.
We were near,
I did watch.
We
we
were.
were, sorry. We were near the African Smithsonian Museum, like
Okay.
right in the back of it. So we were really far away, but they had screens where we could watch.
Could you see the Capitol from where you were?
Yeah.
Yes.
So you could see, but you would watch probably on one of the screens. Is that?
We would try to. I mean, like
And
we
pretty
eventually-
big crowd,
There
huh?
was pretty
Yes.
much a top
Very
people.
big crowd.
Now, just for my edification, where you were watching, where was that in relation to the Lincoln Memorial and the Capitol? Were you in the middle? Were you closer to the Capitol? Were you, where were you in that line?
Well, I was closer to the Capitol. Well, yeah, I was
we were
pretty much near the TV, which was in the middle of the mall. Well, it's what it's called. It's pretty much just a big field. Yeah, that's where I was at. I could see.
Weren't you guys all together?
No,
No.
No,
You weren't.
we split
the
up in
girls
groups.
split up and then the boys went.
Oh, wow, okay, how about that? I just
I
learned
was-
something new here.
I was the only one with my group though.
Only girl with her group.
Okay. So at what point did you guys decide to go different ways?
Well,
just-
when we couldn't find each other.
So that made that decision for you.
Yeah.
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 This is all part of the overall experience, which I think is pretty neat. How I wish I was, what are you guys, about 14?
I'm 12.
12.
Yeah,
12.
I'm 13.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This would be a good reason to be 13 or 12 or 13 years old again, I'll tell you. This is, I'm enjoying this immensely. And I suspect that your chaperones had a ball too, that you kept them on their toes and kept them on a straight and narrow. Yeah?
Yes.
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 Okay. I know they're out in the other room, they're watching, so they gotta behave ourselves here. Okay, now, one of the things that was caught on camera during the inauguration ceremony was one of Obama's children, I guess,
Yawning
yawning.
for a
yes.
long period of time, and I guess that went.
That went viral.
Yeah, it went viral. I was watching the news the next morning, and I was like, "Wow, is that such a big deal?" And then they mentioned Beyonce lip syncing.
Maybe she woke up late. She was tired.
And
Well,
she,
well, the
this,
reason I
this
bring
is her
this up
second time.
Is that, I mean, she's, was this the younger daughter or the older?
That's Sasha, the youngest
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, and how old is she, you know? Off the
She-
top of
she
my-
got- I think
Yeah,
she's
you
about-
guys-
I think she
yeah,
got
11 or
Right,
12.
she's like 12.
I mean, so
The
for
oldest one was
her, my point being is that these types of things can
Almost
be
mentioned him.
a little bit long-winded. They can be not always on your edge, exciting from start to finish. So how did you guys deal with this? How did you find the activities and the speeches and the introductions and all the hoopla that goes along with this kind of program?
I think it was very necessary to see your representative, your like your people that represent your country, have speeches and just do what they're supposed to do for you.
So you enjoyed that?
Yeah.
All of you, that's kind of a collective thing here, you enjoyed that aspect? It wasn't like you were going, when's the president going to speak so we can get the heck out of here and go visit some museum or something? It was-
No.
Yeah, it's
Well, there were some people around us going like, when is Beyonce gonna sing? I was like, I don't know, but I think you came here for Obama, right?
Yeah. They're like, where's Mama B?
You just be telling people.
So from the mall area, you are basically watching the inauguration. So after the inauguration, the parade from the Capitol to the White House, that is something that you guys did not do. You did not watch any of that?
No.
You were not really well positioned for that? Is it?
No.
It was like,
I missed it.
even where we were, it was like crowds of people, like a lot of people.
Yeah, you had to squish it.
Squished in.
But
No arm space.
But I walked right through where the parade was forming up, because I was going to go take pictures of monuments and memorials.
Now, after the, well, I didn't want to get past the inauguration yet. Let's, were you able to pay attention to the president's speech and anything that he said that reached out and touched you, that made you feel really excited or exceptional?
Well, I didn't feel those type of ways, but he did mention that what he was going to do for the next 4 years about gun control, and that it was coincidental because we're going to send letters to him with my social studies class about what we think he should do about gun control, and there are things he should look at about it.
Yeah.
Okay, how about the rest of you guys?
Yeah, that really brought my attention after what happened in Sandy Hook and everything. I think she's just like keep us more safe and find ways to do that.
Yeah, it was crazy.
So, when the festivities at the Capitol concluded, what did you do? You just didn't stay where you were standing? I'm sure you kind of, there's lots to do and see in Washington, so what did you guys take advantage of while you were in that general area?
We went straight to the monuments.
To the monuments. Which monuments did you visit?
We went to the Washington Monument first, and then we kept walking and went to the Martin Luther King
Junior
Jr. Monument.
Memorial.
Yeah.
And so you visited Washington and the Martin Luther King. Did you visit the Lincoln Memorial?
Yes, we did.
Yes.
I actually like that one a lot. That was my
Yeah,
favorite
me,
one.
It was
me
so
as
cool.
well.
That's rather imposing, seeing old Abe sitting up in there.
I know. It's bigger than I really expected because I thought it was.
Yeah, that's the same thing Miss D said.
Yeah.
Now, one thing it brings tears to my eyes when I'm in Washington and I visit the Lincoln Memorial, to read the Gettysburg Address, which is a major speech that Lincoln made after the Battle of Gettysburg, which I brought, and so I don't break down. Why don't you do us a favor? Can you read that for us? I think that's some big stuff.
407 years ago. Oh, didn't you mention that earlier or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, 407 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in great civil war, testing whether that our nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that the nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hollow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggle here have consecrated it. For above our poor power to add or detract, the world will nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us the living, rather to be dedicated here to be unfinished work, to the unfinished work, which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion, that we were here highly resolved that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that the government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from this earth.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You know, this to me, it's very powerful, and it's a short speech. The prior speakers before Lincoln spoke for hours.
Wait, excuse me?
Yes.
What I find powerful, well, you mentioned the speaking powerful, but what I think was the most powerful was a government of the people, by the people, and for the people, shall not perish from this earth. That's what I thought was pretty powerful.
It still is, and that's what we're all about. And that's why it's important and why I'm delighted you're here, is that young people getting involved and getting engaged, understanding how our government works and what's going on, I mean, it's cliche-ish, but I mean, young people are our future. Well, it's true, and so it's important that, because we're all counting on you. And we are. So, what other things that you did grabbed your attention, whether it was the Lincoln Monument or the Washington Monument or the King Memorial? In that general area on the mall, you've also got the Korean War Memorial. There's the World War II Memorial as well. Did you visit any museums? There's just so much to do. It's almost overwhelming.
Well, last time when I went, the thing that I liked is the monument with all the states on it. And it has, I don't know what it is in the middle, I don't remember, because I didn't go there this time, but it was pretty cool to see our states.
Yeah. Did you, that's the World War II Memorial, I think, that you're referring to. Did you have your hand up, you wanted to speak, or you?
No, I was just...
How about you? What did you kind of grab a hold of?
How all the memorials were like close together, so you could see all of them from a point. Like you could see the Washington Monument at the Lincoln Memorial, and how they had that body of water. That's like pretty cool. And like it's like all in the square where you could see everything, and yeah, cool.
How about you? Anything in particular that just you could wrap your arms around and say, boy, this is the best thing going, that I'm glad I came because of this, besides the inauguration itself?
When we were there, it was really cloudy, but I liked how it started getting sunny and the Washington Monument reflected in that. I don't know the name of the lake or whatever it is.
And how about you? Anything in particular that just kind of pulled you in?
I think all of it did, because it was just a great experience to be there. Like, you know, I kind of never would have thought that I'd ever go to an inauguration, and it took me a while to grasp that because it was a big deal to me.
And it is a big deal. You've done something I haven't done, and I've been involved in politics a long time. And, so here you are, just getting into your teen years, and you're experiencing something that's pretty exciting and something that most people won't. So I think that's something that I'm not sure if you fully grasp it now, but when you get a little older, it'll be like, wow, I did that, and it'll be kind of neat. Have you had an opportunity since you've been back to discuss any of this in school in any of your classes?
Today, my teacher, I had noticed that there was this paper by the lunchroom, and so I checked it out because it had Obama and Michelle, and so I checked and it said my name and it was squared with Azal's, and so I looked at it and I was kind of nervous because people were gonna know it's gonna be on TV tonight. I was like, I was not gonna tell them for a reason, because I'm not the.
We've got a call, so why don't we go to the phones, okay?
It's Clyde.
Good evening, and you're on the air.
Hello?
Hello, how are you?
We're doing well. We have two young men here that wanted to say something. You guys ready?
That would be wonderful.
I just want to congratulate Makita, Genesis, Izell, and Kia for being able to be part of a big piece of history.
Thank you.
I want to ask a question. What is the purpose of what you guys think the purpose of an inauguration is?
Can they repeat that?
Can you repeat the question,
What do you
please?
think the purpose of an inauguration is?
For the people to see how serious it really is to be president and how your responsibilities, like, how your
It's the
actions,
formal
yeah.
swearing in of the president. That's what the inauguration is. And it's a legal thing that needs to be done. And, you know, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court handles that function. It was actually done formally the day before.
Oh yeah, in the blue room or something like
Yeah.
that.
Let's see, we're discussing school. So have you had anything in school regarding this in any of your classes?
Well, some classes, people heard that that we went there, and they like asked us about it, what we saw, who we saw, and like if it was fun or cold.
I just had a lot of bragging rights. That's what I enjoyed.
Well, that's kind of neat. How about on your end of the planet?
I had some peers ask me about it and some teachers as well. And one of my peers, I was like kind of bragging to him about it because I'm proud to have gone there.
Yeah. Because some people have never even gone there, like
Yeah.
older adults and
That's true.
people that have like probably been all over the world and haven't even been to the inauguration.
There's so much to do and see in Washington. And one thing that's a little bit sad, and you'll never know it any other way, but before 9/11, you used to be able to walk
on
in
the
and out
White
of the
House.
buildings, well, not the White House, but most of the buildings, just kind of walk in, walk out. You know, there'd be a tour, but security was not near what it is today. And today, you can't get in any of these buildings without going through a high level of security, and in some instances, you can't get in without tickets and appointments, the Capitol being one of them, which I think is unfortunate. But there's things to do and see. I mean, to visit the Arlington National Cemetery, which is over in Virginia, to see the changing of the guard of the unknown soldier, the Kennedy Memorial, John Kennedy and Robert Kennedy in the cemetery, the Smithsonian museums. It's like I say, it's almost overwhelming. You can spend days in Washington and not really see it all. But I'm more interested in what you guys were able to touch on and what interested you, what you did. So let's kind of continue to pick up that theme of what experiences you think are going to be with you forever. I mean, from the moment you left at midnight or gathered at midnight, as well as your trip back and your whether it be your breakfast at the hotel or your visit to Howard University. I mean, you guys crammed quite a bit into a very short period of time.
I think that I remember going to Howard because I didn't really think I'd be in like a big time college before. That means a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So it was pretty cool to go there.
We have a phone call.
We have a phone call. You know, I'm glad he's here. He's going to be my producer today, or my director, I guess. Keep me on the straight and narrow. Thank you. And hello, you're on the air. Gotta be losing.
Nope, I'm here.
There we go. How are you?
Fine. I wanted to ask the kids, how many kids went on the trip, and how did you know that you were going to be going? Was everybody able to go, or was it certain kids? Was it a certain group? How many kids went on the trip to D.C.?
About eight kids.
It was 8.
It was a total of eight students. And the question also asked, and I'm not sure if you can answer this, I can't, do you know how the students were selected?
Oh,
Through SmartMouth, the NAACP, and the Drop-In Learning Center.
So they made that decision on who was going to attend?
Yeah.
Okay. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Thank you.
And congratulations, kids, for being able to go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, well, we got another call here. Let's go right back to the phones. Good evening, and you're on the air. Hello?
Hi.
Well, you're on. Do you have a question or a comment?
Oh, yeah, I have a comment. My mom, I went on the trip, and my mom's like, I'm wear matter, so yeah. It was really cool, and it was really fun.
Well, that's good. I'm glad. Are you in the control room here at the studio?
No, I'm at home.
You're at home. Okay.
Yeah,
was gonna say, if
I
you were
couldn't
here,
make it today,
come out here and
sorry.
say hello.
Oh, hi.
But thank you for sharing and calling. I think that's important, and we wish we could have had all the students make an appearance on the program. But as you can see, the set here is pretty tight, and it would put eight guests would have been a little bit cramped. So I appreciate the cooperation of all of the folks involved. That we got a nice group here to discuss this trip. What else did you guys? Is there anything else that you'd like to say?
I enjoyed going to the Vietnam Veterans Memorial because even though I grew up in D.C., I never got to visit the memorial, so I thought it was pretty cool to learn about the history and stuff.
That's very good. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. So it's time to kind of pull it back together, and you're going to head back to New London. Since you guys separated when you got there, how did you manage to pull it together and get back together to make the trip back, or did you not pull it together to make the trip
I'm
back?
not even sure. It was all just like a rush to me.
We just tried to stay.
Somehow I found everybody, and everyone just ended up leaving together.
Did you find each other in Washington, or at the end of the metro ride? Or?
We were in Washington.
Yeah.
What's it called? There were 2 rendezvous points, and I was walking up and down D.C. looking for the girls, and yeah, my feet were killing me for like 2 days, and but I got to see a lot of things, and it was pretty cool. But then we also had more walking to do because we also had to walk to the metro as well, and you know.
Well, one thing you learned is that when you're going to go to Washington, wear walking shoes.
Oh, yes.
Don't wear formal shoes.
Yeah, I wear
walking
boots.
shoes.
You actually left somebody on the metro.
Yeah.
Oh, Miss Jane.
She had said to us, don't go on any other train but for the orange train. And so the blue train had come, and we all thought it was the orange train. And so she goes in into the train, and then we're just looking at it, and we're like, wait, that's the blue train.
But we couldn't tell her.
I thought she was waving to us. Bye.
And we couldn't tell her
And then-
fast enough. She's like,
And then she was trying to get out. And at one point, one of the chaperones had put their purse in the middle so the door would open, but it's still closed. So she had to take it out.
Yeah. It's not like New York trains where, you know, it opens up and you know,
in New York, not in D.C.
It was pretty fun.
Miss Dillon got her hand caught in the door. I was not expecting that.
So you pull it together, and you're going to head back to the thriving megalopolis of New London, Connecticut, from the nation's capital. Did you guys rest and sleep, or were you so full of energy that you wanted to share all your experiences on the drive back?
It was actually a long day, so
Yeah.
most of us were actually asleep.
Well,
and yeah, we went to a couple rest stops. But
At like,
Did you have a problem getting back up the Delaware Bridge?
traffic.
I don't remember.
oh
I
yeah,
was sleeping.
it started snowing, so
So we couldn't take the Delaware Bridge, but since it was snowing,
it
like,
closed. And
yeah.
You had to wait till it was
So that slowed down your return.
And we arrived at 3 in the morning on Tuesday, yes. So yeah, a lot of students didn't go to school, but I had a good sleep.
I would think
I didn't either. And I had a good sleep in the car though, but on the ride going to Washington, I did not sleep. In fact, I had woken up at 5 o'clock in the morning on Saturday being excited about the trip, and then I had to stay up all that.
I think that your field trip would trump missing a day of school. So I think that you've gleaned significantly more than you would have gotten sitting in class for one day.
I would have fallen asleep on my desk.
That would have been like one, because I went to bed at 4, so that would have been like 1 hour of sleep, because I wake up at 5, and I would have been a mess.
Yeah, me too. I also wake up at 5.
I already sleep in my classes, so me being tired.
Okay. Well, folks, we're getting near the end of the program. We've only got a handful of minutes left, so if you've got any, you're out there you'd like to call, please do. We've been gotten a nice cross-section of calls this evening. But locally, we're at 860-440-3154, or you can call us at 800-253-2285. In our closing moments, if you could maybe share what each of you individually take out of this, what did you enjoy the most? Maybe what you enjoyed the least, that you wish maybe you didn't have to do, or. But if you were to go back to Washington, what would you maybe either like to revisit or something to do that you were unable to get to? And again, we'll start with the ladies. We'll be gentlemen. What do you think?
Sure.
Okay, but we'll start over on this side.
Well, I actually liked the trip. I liked how everyone there I knew and I was friends with. Yeah.
So that made for a nice trip?
Yeah, and I liked how all the girls were together and the boys were together. So I got to sleep with my friends.
So that's what you liked the most. Now, was there anything you didn't care for, or was there everything a positive?
All the walking, my feet were so tired, and we couldn't sit down because there was too much people, but
The phone.
overall it was cool.
Okay.
The phone.
The phones. Another call here.
You'll actually get a job here or something.
Yes, you will. Thank you, and you're on the air.
I really give these guys a lot of credit because I've been to Washington quite a few times, and I've been there when it wasn't really crowded. And it's a wonder they ever came back because it's very, very difficult to find your way around. And I can't imagine. I have one child, and there was 3 of us going to Washington. I wouldn't know how to rendezvous, and I congratulate them on successfully returning. It's not easy, and it's especially when you have a mass of people that was there this time. I don't know if they had built-in GPSs or I hope they all had maps or something, but they did a good job because they got there and they got back, and we're pleased to have them back in London.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, caller, and I think the kids on the whole derived a great benefit from the trip, and I'm glad they were able to come in tonight on City Focus and share their experiences with my vast viewing audience.
Great. Well, I've been to. I went to Clinton's inauguration, the second one, and it's a lot of fun. But this one, I think, I don't know what the crowd count was, but I'm sure there was probably a lot more people at this inauguration than many of the past ones. And again, welcome back to New London, and we're glad to see you home. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the call. Okay. Why don't you kind of express your final conclusions, the good, the bad, when you go back to Washington? I guess think you suspicion you'll all go back at some point in time because once you've been there, you'll want to go back. There's just so much to do and see. So what did you like, and what perhaps would you like to revisit, or perhaps visit that you didn't get a chance to?
What I didn't like the least was that we were so far away, and some of us really didn't get to see the screens, but like only from a distance, like the angles that we were at. And what I would like to visit is the museums there, because I heard that they really have cool museums. And what I'd like to revisit is the Lincoln Monument.
That's pretty neat. I try to visit that every time I'm there. And how about you?
I liked everything about the trip. It was fun to spend my time with my friends. I liked seeing the Lincoln Memorial because ever since I was little, I would like watch the movies and they'd have the big Lincoln Memorial. I thought the steps were going to be harder to go up though. They're really easy.
Nope, it's right there. Just you guys take lots of pictures when you're there? Do you have cameras?
Oh, yes.
That's one of the things I don't understand is how you guys can get separated with your cell phones and stuff. I would figure you guys could be between phoning and texting. You'd be in constant communication.
They dropped the signal.
The girls were in, the chaperones were in contact with the boys' chaperone, but they were just too far away from us to find us.
I'm sorry?
Bad connection, like the tower.
Oh, bad connection? That sounds like my house. I've got bad cell connection in my house. Okay, we're going to wrap up with you.
I enjoyed mostly the whole trip, but other than the walking. And
you guys are young. I mean, walking shouldn't bother you.
I hate walking. It was too much.
I'm getting old.
You don't know what old is.
And well, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little disappointed because I didn't get to actually see Obama like in the parade, like because when he was walking through. But it's fine. At least I went to the inauguration and I saw him on the TV. I can kind of see everyone's figure up on at the legislative building. Wow, this show always goes by really fast.
See, he's experienced tan here. We'll have to have you ladies back for another visit sometime. You guys have been really good guests, and the conversation's been lively, and I've appreciated all your candor, and it's made for a good program. And I want to thank all of our callers tonight. We had a lot of calls tonight, and those folks who took time to share their thoughts and questions with my guests. Next week, the studio is going to be under some renovations. So for those of you who enjoyed this program tonight, we will be rerunning this next week. So next Tuesday at 7 o'clock, City Focus will feature this same cast of characters, and we'll be back on tape for next week. And with that, I want to thank my guests for coming in this evening. I've really enjoyed this, and I hope that you have as well. And I want to thank again our callers. And we'll see you in 2 weeks on City Focus. I want to thank you all and have a good night.